Okay, good day. We'll be starting to have an installation of VSphere Installation 6.5. This is one of the virtualization of VMware. Uh, Start with, we go in the software VMware workstation, in which we'll be creating a new virtual machine to deploy a VSphere. So from the file new, we'll be having a wizard which will guide us through the rest of the creation of the virtual machine by selecting the typical and then the next button. Now we could specify the operating system that we want to install, or we can select it later. So we can just bypass or call visually select now the image that we want to install, specifying it where the VSphere is located. So of course we have to download first the necessary virtualization operating system, usually almost 400 MB only, which is this one, VMware installer, in which the virtual machine or the VMware will detect immediately what operating system that we want to deploy. But if we intend to, I will install operating system later. So we have on next, we have to select what operating system that we want to install. Excuse. So initially we have here VMware ESXi or Apple or Linux, free software or Microsoft. But if we have selected installer, immediately the software VMware will detect what particular installer or operating system that we want to deploy. Since we'll be deploying VSphere, so you could immediately select the operating system later, so we could modify the hardware of the VMware ESI. The next, then we name the virtual machine that you want to name it. Let's say VSphere 6.5. And next, where we want to put the virtual machine in your drive, you can browse it. And next, now for the size, so if we go on with the wizard immediately on the specifying the operating system or the software, it will designate immediately the size of the hard drive or the storage. Since we'll be deploying soon, the vCenter will be needing a greater hard drive, which is minimum 450 gigabyte. So I will specify 500 gig on it, and it should be split this in virtual into multiple files, so it will not accommodate my entire physical hard drive on it because I have only limited space also in my disk. So what we are doing now is from my computer laptop, we use a VMware workstation to provide another virtualization, and from that VSphere, we'll be providing another virtual machine. So what we call that is a nested virtualization. So we go on the next. Now we have to customize the hardware at this point because for vCenter, as you can see, the memory is only 4 gigabyte, and my machine contains 16 gigabyte of hard drive, so I could maximize it to have at least 12 because the vCenter requires 10 gigabyte, minimum of 10 gigabyte of hard drive. Now for the network, I'll be having my first network to be bridge, and then I should add another network for it. So usually network for a certain server or vSphere should have at least minimum of two network adapter. So one would be for my public network and my other network would be for my local network. So if we have here, so we can close it. Then we are through with editing our machine. Finish. Now the machine is already located here below. Now, as we have modified the virtual machine, we can now specify the installer or the operating system VSphere by editing the virtual machine settings and browsing here on the CD IDE in which it will boot, and then we have to select browse. And my installer is located at drive E under installer and under VSphere and under my ESXi 6.5, and this one is for the VSphere and the other one was for the vCenter. So we'll be using this one for my installation. Open. Okay. So we are now ready to turn on the virtual machine. And as we specify the installer, it will boot on that particular operating system. So it's similar on how you format computer laptop or computer desktop. The installer of ESXi could be also included in a flash drive in order to boot your server by using a Rufus, no, in order to transfer or to make a flash drive bootable. Okay, and it goes like this. Okay, so currently we are now on the process of installing the operating system of the VMware ESXi version 6.5. So it's just like for the installation of Windows. After that, it will also require us for to input or the partition of the hard drive. You know? So where do you want to install our operating system? So wait for a while. To continue, we will now have the welcome screen of the EXI. So we just press the enter key. Then for the EULA, in other like other software, we have to agree on the terms of the end user license agreement. Just press F11 for it. Scanning for available devices for our storage. In order to partition, since we have only one storage installed in our virtual machine, which is size to 500 gigabyte as you see in your screen, you just select no. Because we have no other choices, just press the enter key. Keyboard layout, you just press again the another enter. And the important one is the VSphere password that we need to supply later on for our root account in order to configure our VSphere via the web browser. After password is matched, press the enter key and it will start on the configuration. Hard drive will be partitioned by the ESXi immediately for several partition as needed by the operating system. Let's press again F11 and we'll start with the installation. Of course, it will goes with 100% after the finish of the installation. So it will take a while before it will reboot. Okay, installation has been complete. So remove the installation video from before rebooting as per the instruction. We go at the VSphere machine and let's try to manage it, or settings as to say, and remove the installer that we have browsed a while ago. We just use the physical drive, which is empty. Click OK, and then we can now go at the rebooting. Now, for if you're also using VMware machine, you have to press on the screen before you press the enter. So even I press enter here, your mouse is outside with the VMware virtual machine. So you just have to press click any part of the virtual machine in which the mouse pointer will be gone for a while, and then you just press enter so it will accept it. Now your mouse pointer will not move any longer because it was inside the virtual machine. You just press Ctrl Alt key in order to display your mouse pointer. Okay, go back with the normal Windows operation. Now what we are looking here now is the booting of the virtual machine, in which it was already installed in our hard drive. So we have also to wait for the boot time. After the booting, it will show the IP address came from your network. Since I am connected via my Wi-Fi, okay, which is from my internet, it was number 192.168.1.154. It's been issued by my PLDT router, and it was bridged to my Wi-Fi, so they will see to each other in order to configure your uh, VMware ESXi. So that is how we install the VMware. Now, a brief overview before we end our presentation. So you can now use your browser in order to display the settings of your VMware machine. Looking at that, so we have to put the IP address of 8192.168.1.154 in order to access your VSphere virtual machine. Enter. Now the Chrome will also display this message: your connection is not private. Locally you are connecting to a seems like untrusted site. You just click on advanced and go down, proceed to unsafe in order to load our browser configuration of the VMware. So we will notice that we have now the VMware, which is address of the IP of the vSphere. Can now specify here the root, and then followed by the password we have specified a while ago during installation. Okay, so then click on login. After logging in, it will display now the ESXi configuration settings of the VSphere. Just click on uncheck and OK. So from here, you can now create another virtual machine from your VSphere. So from my virtual machines list, I have not yet created a virtual machines. So that would be our next lesson later on. So that's it for the installation of VSphere. From here, so we have already set our VSphere EXI and using my computer to configure this EXI to a web browser. Okay, that's it. Good day, each and everyone.